Hey everybody, this is Brian, Sparky's Model Salvage. This is going to be the first video of how to do the HVAC tape for like the weathering that I do, make the dents and all that. So let's get started here. Lighter. I got 2 carriage bolts here that I'd been using for a while. Put electrical tape on it, so a little bit better grip for me, so you're not using the threads here. So once again, working on the 55. This model got for $5. As you see, like, pillars gone on this. I think that's the reason why it was a $5 model, but I'm gonna kind of integrate, whatever you want to call it, into what I do, because the top's gonna be smashed. So somehow I'll make it work. I'm not sure how. Really kind of haven't figured it out yet, but I'll make it work somehow, some way. So so when you do the HVAC, you don't want to put it on there first. At least I don't. That's not the way I do it. What I'll do first is I'll figure out where I want to start with where the dent's at. I think I'm going to go ahead and start doing this side on the front of the fender here. And you don't want to hold it in one spot, because then you just start to melt, just that one spot. Of course, is my lighter going to work? Yes. Oh, got to turn the fan off. Okay. As you see, the starting to kind of bend in there a little bit. And I'll use, get rid of that. I'll use the mat, the pressure, just holding it down, moving it, bending it like that. You see that? I mean, it's trying to use your fingers is, it is hot, but it does cool down, and you can still touch it, as it's still kind of like a loose plastic there. It does get pretty hot though, of course. I'm not really worried about like the fender wall going up, like where the wheel is right there, because I can always make that with the tape. So I'm not really too worried about that. I'm just worried more of like the, not creases either, because the creases you're gonna make with the tape, just how you want the metal bending, pretty much. So as you can see on this, see how it's more rounded here in the fender, like even after you bend it. So it's not giving you that real look of bent metal. So I'm just going to keep on doing this here until I get to where I want it. Ow. And I'm trying not to. The only thing that's supporting this model, I did put the firewall in there, and it's coming apart now. Okay, well, I'm going to just have to deal with that, because this comes with a separate firewall. only thing that's supporting that side is this rocker right here. So I gotta kind of be careful, even though if I do lose that rocker with the bending and I snap it, I'll fix it later. I'll also do a video of how I kind of do my own like welding technique with the plastic, and I just use sprues and a candle pretty much, and you fuse the parts together, but I'll show you that in another video. This is not bending the way I want it to. There we go. Okay. Try and round this part off here. All right, let's take that out. So, as you can see here, a lot of it. See how you can tell? Like, that's not realistic. You know, you got the roundness from the carriage bolt. And even if you press it with your hand, you're not getting the creases that you want just by melting plastic. So, I mean, all you're doing is just melting plastic pretty much. So, here's my HVAC tape. Let's see if it... I'm going to make a bigger piece here. I'm going to cut it to the length of the fender. Just go over a little bit here. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, so now when you use this and you paint it, if you don't try and take some of the sheen off, it's not going to stick. So this is what I use. I've used this thing for 6 years. I think it's 3,000, not sure, but I'll just scuff this up, take that shininess off, give the primer something to stick to. Of course, you can't do this when it's on the car. See, it's a lot easier just to do it now because it's flat. So you see, like a lot of the sheen's gone. You can tell like a huge difference from this where it's like really, really smooth. So this is a lot more rough now. Okay, so the primer will stick to this a lot better. I mean, it's still going to kind of flake off, but you'll get used to it after a while and know after you paint it to kind of be a little bit more delicate with it. But it's also going to help you too in the creases, because when you do the creases, it's going to show like this is like bare metal. When you'll see that later in the process. So it's kind of hard to explain it right now. All right. So looks like it's going to fit on there pretty good. Okay, so when I put it on here, I don't have to really worry about any body lines because 55 really don't have much for a body line. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick it over all the way over the fender. I'm going to start at the top because you slap it on there, it's not going to, you want to form it as you go. So if you start at the top where the fender meets the hood right there, okay? So if you start there, I let it overhang a little bit because I'll just trim the axis off. Now you start coming down with it. Okay, so now like you see in there, I got that dent in there and up in here. Okay. So now as I'm moving it down, just got to kind of figure out which way you're going to go. I mean, this is pretty sticky, so once it's on there, I mean, you can rip it off, but when you get it on there and you form it the way you want and you start cutting everything off, I usually heat it up to make sure it sticks really good, and you're not going to want to try and get it off because, I mean, you can literally rip the plastic. I mean, it's pretty sticky. But as compared to the aluminum foil, at least this is sticky. The only bad part about this is it's a little bit thicker than aluminum foil, but I feel like that also helps me. Because, I mean, once you start getting used to it, you'll get a lot better. I mean, I'm not the best with it yet, but I'm doing pretty damn good with it. So, okay. So, now this, rocker. All right. So I lay it over the fender. You just can see. Okay, so I'm gonna probably end up wanting to cut this out here, then try and form it around there. I think it's gonna be the easiest way for this part. So start cutting it out here, figuring out how I'm gonna do this, and now when I'm cutting it, I'm not necessarily going along the body line. I'm kind of like leaving a little bit of an overhang there. All right. See like the inside. See if I can get a good angle there. You can kind of see where it's overhanging that tire, where the part of the fender there. So all right, get around the headlight here. Try not to stab myself with the damn blade. All right. So that looks pretty good. Okay. No, I'm not even close to being done here yet. So now I know that I got a dent in here and a dent in here. Now I'm going to start trying to form it here and get the creases that I want along the wheel. Start really pressing it into the fender there. Cut this part of the door out. I also use, it's just an eraser. And what I like to use with this, it's hard, but it's also soft. So it's gonna get into those places where you can't get your fingers in, and you know, if there's any like body lines you try and get it into, it's going to press it in there. Try not to snap this rocker down there. It's kind of delicate there. I think I might actually just go ahead and HVAC that whole thing, just in case if it does snap. It might not completely rip off, but I'm not sure yet. So I'm just pressing this in here. All right. I mean, I don't like how, let's see if we can get that up in here. I don't like how that is up in there. So I am going to try something here. I'm going to try and take this off and just reapply it. See if this actually works. I'm not sure if this is actually going to work or not. So I've never done this before. I've only I've only HVAC taped, I think 4 models, and another one I'm in, still not even close to being done with it. It's a plow truck. But now see that I'm taking it off. I don't know what I'm going to do there. Changing my mind here. And well, now that I'm taking it off, it's kind of getting a little bit more crinkly, which is good. So I know later on I can hide the parts that just kind of don't look right with the rust texture, which that's what I use for that. And that'll be later on in another video. But see, my plans with this is going to be like a crazy rollover that's been abandoned for 30, 40 years. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of dirt, a lot of rust. It's going to basically look like it's been sitting in a field for 30, 40 years. Someone pulled the motor out of it and just left it and said, we'll deal with it later, and later never came. So that's what I'm probably going to get out there. So there it is. That's what you want that to look like. Grab this. That's going to give all your realistical creases instead of like melted plastic look. Okay. We're going to end this video. There will be a part 2. So once once I download this video, I'm going to start working on part 2. So just be looking for that on my Facebook page or on YouTube. See you in the next video.